You're listening to The Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Saturday, partly to mostly sunny with a warmer afternoon, the high 52. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Monsi Bolaños.
The Lions are headed to the playoffs.
There it is. Fox the hold. Kick away.
Yes,
it is
sir.
up and it is good.
Yes,
These Detroit Lions.
Yes,
You want to
sir.
talk about grit. You want to talk about determination. You want to talk about resiliency. This team is all of those things.
You heard it all on the ticket. Lions Radio Network. They walk it off with a 35-yard field goal to beat the Packers 34-31. For the first time in franchise history, the Lions have won 11 games in a row. The Cavaliers are the first team to reach 20 wins after defeating the Nuggets 126-114, despite a triple-double from Nikola Jokic. Luka Doncic had his own triple-double as the Mavericks handed the Wizards their 16th straight loss of the season, coming out on top 137-101. In college hoops, Penn State with an 81-70 upset over number 8 Purdue. It's Penn State's first top 10 win in 5 years.
Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to recruit you, and our running back coach didn't think biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the you can bring in any topic you want to bring, from this week. Of course, big topic this week is, of course, Alabama sitting at number 11 in the CFB playoff rankings, which means that they are really number 12 in number 12 in terms of the seeding, which is different than the rankings. So we can talk about that. Also, we can talk about the championship weekend. I want to take a deep dive into the Texas Longhorn. Thanks, Digger, for pointing out, poor Alabama played Mercer in week 10 when Texas. I just want to start this off. I just want you to let this sink in. The mighty Texas Longhorns. Now, I will give them. They took care of their business. Else, other than the SEC, they'd be laughed at. The highest ranked SEC team that Texas played is the number 18. And that was last weekend. Other than last weekend, all of Texas's games, other than one, which was Georgia, were in the bottom half of conference rankings. Let that sink in. Bottom half of conference rankings. That's who Texas played. That's just shocking. And so the question I have is this: Texas can only play who they play. Texas can only play who they play. Did Texas somehow finagle and hold the SEC hostage and say in year one, you got to give us a cakewalk? Because they had a cakewalk. They've had a cakewalk, and we're going to break it down even more. So that's one of the topics that we can talk about as well. There's been a lot of conversation around what Vegas does. I don't really look at the Vegas numbers a lot, but I listen to other people that talk about it. And Vegas seems to be pretty sure that Alabama's getting in based on the way they're setting the betting lines up. Because if not, they're putting in a lot of money at risk if Bama doesn't get in. For example, one that they have is that if Alabama doesn't get in and you put $100 down, you'll win $300 and something. Another betting eye is if Alabama gets in, you have to put down over $400 in order to win $100. So Vegas thinks Bama's in. So we'll talk about that as well. And then, of course, we can talk Bama hoops if you want to talk about that. I didn't get to mention, but Houston, Matt Malott, I think is how you say his name. And he got to play the other night. Pretty much, I guess, removing a red shirt. I'm not sure how it works in basketball completely. But, played well. So we'll break down all of those things. So, but remember that this is the day that the Lord has made. That rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. The Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline is open for business, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. And remember, Empowerment Strategies and Solutions is an empowering company that educates, equips, and empowers you to become the best version of yourself, whether it's an individual, a team, or a corporation. And we do that because we speak, we coach, and we train, and we'll do that for you. Good morning, X. How you doing, man?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well.
Right. You started off talking about championship weekend and everything, but we hadn't talked about it all week. Today, your high school alma mater, Cherokee County, and my high school alma mater, Tuscaloosa Academy, are playing for championships as well. Cherokee County Warriors at the 4A level are taking on Jackson High School, and my high school TA is taking on Reeltown at the 2A classification. If I'm not mistaken, this would be the second state championships for both schools. TA's first at the AHSAA level. So kudos to both of our high schools, and best of luck to both of them today.
Yeah, and this is, I think, Cherokee County's third year in a row.
Mm-hmm.
North champion. So Coach Curry's done an unbelievable job there bringing it back. And a shout out to Diamond, defensive end running back who got the Max Prep Player of the Year. So give a shout out to him. Kudos to him. Kudos to the Cherokee County Warriors. Be pulling for them.
And Keyshawn Thomas, cousin, nephew.
Yep.
So starting cornerback.
Yeah, and they're literally 1 second from being undefeated.
Yeah.
You hear people say, man, we were so close to being undefeated. They're literally 1 second. They got beat. Cherokee County lost the game with 1 second to go against Piedmont, which was the Auburn of when I was going through. I don't think it's as big a rivalry because they're not the same classification anymore, but still a big rival because they're a neighboring community. But anyway, kudos to those guys and shout out.
Right, and TA making it in just their third year at the ASHAA level is extremely impressive. Coach Wright, who coached against one of our rivals when I was there, getting that program right. And I hope both teams get a win today. If you're going to try to go, Cherokee County plays at 11 a.m., TA, Tuscaloosa Academy, plays at 3 p.m. So, once again, best of luck to those guys.
I saw it last night. I'm assuming it's on today. PBS was broadcasting the game.
Yes.
Broadcast the game yesterday, so I'm assuming they're doing it again today. But anyway, Jet Cohen asking, did I win a championship in high school? No. As a freshman, Jet, we lost the state title on against TR Miller. It was the last drive. They got 2 4th downs and 20 pluses. We had the game one. A guy, instead of a guy knocking down the pass, he tried to intercept it, and it changed the trajectory of the pass. And the receiver had fallen down, and because he tried to intercept it, the ball fell right into his hands. Of course, we had won a game in a similar fashion earlier, but and then my senior year, we were so dominant. But I got hurt. My cousin got hurt. He was like my brother. I averaged 10 yards a carry. He averaged 11 yards a carry. And our best offensive lineman that also signed a college scholarship. All of us got hurt. And we all tried to play, but we weren't the same. And we lost to Deshler High School. And we had them 4th down and whatever. And we stopped them. And a guy who was playing Xavier for the injured lineman got a 15-yard penalty and gave them 1st down at the 20. And the next play, the guy broke an 80-yard touchdown, and that was in the 4th quarter. But that guy that broke that touchdown, he and I were co-players of the year. So it wasn't like some fluky guy that broke it. So yeah, it was crazy. But we gave up more points in that loss than we did all year. That's how dominant we were really good offensively, but our defense, you couldn't score on us. So anyway, enough about that.
Both of our senior years ended with injuries that probably cost us from playing for state, because I was hurt my last game. Even though I played, our best defensive lineman was hurt and our best wide receiver was hurt.
Yep.
And we made it to the state semifinals.
Yep, and Tim Cog is asking, where did my cousin go? Unfortunately, he did not go. He made some bad choices about schooling, and he did not go to college. But he was so good that Mississippi State called me and told me, said, hey, we're not going to sign you. We don't want, but do you think your cousin would come? And I said, well, he's not going to be eligible for, and I'm not going to say why he wasn't eligible, but they said, do you think he'll go to college and take his you think he'll go get his GED, go to junior college, and then come play? I said, I don't know. You could ask him. So,
he was unreal.
Yeah, and his son grew up to also play at an extremely high level, and
his grandson will.
And his grandson actually Blue. He actually plays for Brody Crowell, the Crowells and Coach Smith. And Brody was telling me the other day. I know this is truly a free for all Friday. And Brody was telling me the other day that they were playing in a championship game and really, really good matchup. And he got hit, and then he kind of ran soft a little bit for the rest of the game. But come to find out, he had broke his elbow on the first play and played the rest of the game. so he died.
Is that how Bluebird? I saw the post about. I didn't know that's what happened. That's crazy. So
that's what Brody told me the other day. Anyway, let's get back to it, man. We're way over. We'll get the break here. It's a free for all Friday. We'll work you into the conversation. We got several callers that want to get in, so we're going to let you guys have it when we get back. But we will kind of work you through. So thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Appreciate the questions by Jed, Tim. That's what this is about, man. We're just a family that sits down and talks Bama ball together. I'll give you an opportunity to do that on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by Box Eye Care on this free for all Friday, powered by the pharmacy at Midtown.
It's 26 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, we seem to be moving pretty good this morning. There's no slowdowns and we don't have any accidents or incidents this morning. Just a lot of road construction that could slow you down. We have long-term road construction McFarland Boulevard, both eastbound and westbound, between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard. And
Jewelers, we have exceptional pieces to mark your special occasion.
Visit Hudson Pool Fine Jewelers, downtown Tuscaloosa, or at hudsonpool.com.
Got timberland in West Alabama or East Mississippi? North River Timber Company has you covered. Since 2011, Courtney White, a registered forester, along with his expert team, have been managing timberland and harvesting timber across 4 West Alabama counties. They offer comprehensive timber management plans, reforestation services, and appraisals. Courtney White says timber is like money in the bank. Don't let your investment...
GHX is changing the entire seed experience to maximize your yield potential. And we have the numbers to prove it. Across 20 trials in Iowa, G11 V76D brand out-yielded Pioneer products by a 4.6 bushel per acre average in 2024. Get more local yield results at goldenharvestseeds.com/corn yield.
100.9 will award $500 for the best Christmas light display in West Alabama. To enter, upload your photos to Tide109.com. Merry Christmas from your friends at Taco Casa and Tide 100.9.
Hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to tell you about exciting news happening at Box Eye Care. They've moved to their new location, bringing you a brand new lab, stylish new frames, and a fresh look just for you. Enjoy their expanded frame inventory, competitive prices, and faster service, all with the same great level of service you've come to know and trust. Discover this full-service eye care at Box Eye Care's new location. With their in-house lab, they offer unbeatable value and one of the largest frame collections in town. Schedule your eye exam today and walk out with new glasses in less than an hour in most cases. Visit boxeyecare.com. That's boxeyecare.com, or call 205-342-0660. That's 205-342-0660. Visit them at 5003 Oscar Baxter Drive. That's Box Eye Care. Your vision, our priority.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The weather cold and dry today. The sky sunny, the high 43. Another freeze tonight, clear with the low at 25. Tomorrow, partly to mostly sunny, the high 52. Clouds move in Sunday, a chance of rain by afternoon, the high 56. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 26 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Keep it locked into Tide 100.9 for more of the Martin Houston Show with Martin Houston and X's and O's Sports, Xavier Houston.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. We're so glad to have you on this Free for All Friday, powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. Thanks to all of my other great supporters, and want to encourage you to jump out there and support your favorite athlete. That's right. I'm your favorite former Bama player. And you can get gear. Doesn't have to have my number on it, but it has some really cool gear out there at athletesthread.com. You can go to /collections /Martin-Houston. You can get the legacy gear. You can get the Bama winter Christmas holiday gear. All you have to do is scan the QR code, or remember that website, athletesthread.com /collections /Martin-Houston. And hey, listen, I get a little NIL kickback when you support your favorite athlete and your favorite team. All right. I'm going to go ahead and bring Pat in, and then we'll work it from there. Pat, you're in on the Empowerment Strategies and Solutions hotline on this Free for All Friday, powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. What's up?
Hey, good morning, Martin. Have you got mixed emotions about pulling for Dabo over SMU?
Hey, Pat, let me answer that question with this statement. Alabama played Georgia last year in the SEC championship game. My daughter worked for Georgia.
Yeah, I know.
I pulled for Alabama. Blood, spit, and water. Dabo stands zero chance. Go SMU.
Hey, I'll tell you this. Texas and Georgia, I want Georgia to beat the brakes off of Texas, because I really can't stand burnt orange. And Georgia's just a shade of crimson, bless her heart. Hey, but I can't stand Georgia either. But I dislike Texas more.
Pat, I am convinced Georgia has to beat Texas. I mean, there's just listen, Pat. This is the ranking, and so everybody else will have this information when they call in if they want to talk about that. Texas played one team ranked in this is just the SEC conference. One team in the top 8. I mean, the top 2 teams in the top 8. They got beat by Georgia, and they lost to Texas A&M, who was the number 8 team. Here's their other wins, Pat. They beat number 10 in the SEC. They beat number 10, number 11, number 12, number 13, number 15, and number 16. That's Texas A&M, Kentucky, Arkansas, Florida, Vanderbilt, and Oklahoma. Unfortunately, we lost to 2 of those teams, but that shows you just how weak the schedule was. Their combined win total, Xavier, for all of their SEC opponents combined. Pat, take a wild guess. How many, if you take Georgia out of the mix, take a wild guess how many wins all of the other 7 or 8, well, 7, what is it? 7, 8?
7.
Other 7 teams won.
But they were hardly any of them was bowl eligible.
None of them.
But the thing about Vanderbilt, didn't Vanderbilt play them within 3 points or 5 points, something like that?
They played within 3. Here's the point, Pat, and I have to let you go. They're combined the win totals of those teams that I just mentioned, 18 wins.
Wow.
Total.
Yeah. That's incredible. And how they got by without playing Lane, I don't know, because Lane would have beat the brakes off of Texas.
Yep. Pat, who you got in the championship game? We need to get ready to get out of here.
Championship game, I've got Georgia winning 31-14.
All right. Thanks, Pat. Roll Tide, man. All right. We got Todd. Todd, you're up next.
Hey, good morning, Martin. Good morning, X. Hope all is well with you guys. I just got a comment and want to get you guys' thoughts on, the difference between, football is a mindset. You guys, I'm sure we all three can agree on that. Your mentality is what you're really going to perform, how you're going to perform on the football field. But the difference between the 4-team playoff and then the 12-team playoff that we currently have, I'm not complaining about the 12-team playoff, but I think that, in the 4-team, you had to be perfect. One win, one loss could take you out of even a sniffing a chance, in the 4-team playoff. So, what is the team's mindset throughout the year from start to finish? Does that affect it? I mean, everybody says that the NIL and the portal, just levels the playing field. I think the third one that everybody's leaving out, of course, some people may be talking about it, is, going from 4-team, having to be perfect every single game, that sense of urgency, not to let any of that creeping softness come up in any of your play calling down to the offensive line's footsteps had to be perfect every game. So I just like to know your guys' thoughts on that. I know it's free-for-all Friday, and I know 12-team is where we're at, and I'm very grateful for the 12-team, especially this year. So just want to know your guys' thoughts on that comment.
When I look at it, it was almost a perfection needed for the 14 playoffs because you had 5 conference champions and only 4 power. At the time, you have 5 Power 5 conferences, and then you only have 4 spots. So if you wanted a chance, you want it to be perfect or only have dropped one game, but it had to be a quality game you dropped. Alabama couldn't have been 11-1 this year with a loss to Vanderbilt. Alabama couldn't have been 11-1 with a loss to Oklahoma in a 14 playoff. This year, the 12-team playoff, the benefit of the doubt. Granted, every year there would have been a team with 3 losses in it if it had been 12 the entire time. That's the difference in it. And so, you had to go in with the thought process still, hey, we have to do our best to be perfect.
But I think that's stupid. I think college football D1 has always had and still has the worst way of deciding champion of any sport in the world, even though we love it. It's stupid to have 130 teams and you could have 2 teams play for a championship, or have 130 teams and then you got to 4. I think it's still stupid to have, what they have right now. How many high school teams do you see lose and then they play their region, they get into the playoffs, and then they run the table, right? Thompson has played for 7 straight championships in high school here. Todd, in Alabama, they lost 3 games this year, but they got to the championship game and represented themselves and redeemed against the team that took their championship last year. The fact that you have to be perfect in a game that is imperfect was always stupid to me. And so I have that's our. I can't say this enough. Who's the most dominant team in the NFL?
The Chiefs. The Ravens.
The Chiefs.
You're talking about winning?
As far as getting in and getting to the champion. If you define it by championship, it's the Chiefs.
Currently the Chiefs.
How often do they lose 3 or more games? Tell me one season where they've gone through and didn't lose 3 games. I mean, almost all of them. Last year they lost 6.
I think their best season is when they lost to the Bucks. The Super Bowl.
They were 11-6. That's less than a 65% rate, and they were the number 1 seed. We're talking about the number 12 seed being 75% and not worthy to have a chance to play for a championship. And Todd, to your point, I think it kept more teams engaged, which makes it better. I mean, I listen. if you're a football player and you need a championship ring out there to make you go out and play to win, you already got a culture issue, right? You see what I'm saying? So, and this Alabama team, I think, has some of that, Todd. They have a little bit of, they don't know how to hold water. But one thing they do know how to do is play off of a bye week. So I know Notre Dame don't want them to play, but no, Todd, I don't think that has hurt it. I think the 12-team playoff has actually helped college football. If this was you think about this season, Todd, how bad this season would have been if there was really only 4 teams.
Yes, well said. I tell you, it's been very exciting to watch the games this year. All the games have been, very good games to watch, except for that stinking Oklahoma game. I don't know what happened in that game, man. That was awful to watch.
Yeah, and that may be where they thought they that's why I said they couldn't hold water, Todd. They had a chance, everything in front of them, and but Alabama football this year has been like the scary movie where you think you killed you think you killed Jason or Freddy Krueger, and he keep coming back.
Hey, with that said, Martin, man, I love Mr. Milroe. Fell in love with him 2 years ago, his first game at Texas A&M. And you think he'll come back?
No. If Alabama gets into the playoffs and he has I don't think he's coming back either way. And if he comes back, he won't play at Alabama.
Okay.
All right. And I could be wrong, but hey, if I was him, I wouldn't come back and play for Alabama.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
Why is that? Why is that?
I'll answer the.
Hey, roll. Yeah.
Do you ask why is that?
Yes, sir.
Unappreciated.
Our fan base is horrible.
And all that is the fan base that's negative talks more than all of the people that support him. I think there's a lot more people that support Jalen Milroe than don't. I just think that the craziness of the negativity from his own fan base, which they're always louder. The negative people are always louder, so that's not unusual. All right, thanks, Todd. We'll get back to the other side. That may be a topic worth talking about, X, when we get a little break, especially if Alabama makes it in. We can add that to the conversation. Robert, sorry that went a little long on that break. We'll get you coming out on the other side.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Well, we seem to be moving pretty good this morning. There's no slowdowns and we don't have any accidents or incidents this morning. Just a lot of road construction that could slow you down. We have long-term road construction McFarland Boulevard, both eastbound and westbound, between Jack Warner Parkway and Lurleen B. Wallace Boulevard. And we have...
I'm Tom Osmond, your jeweler at Fincher and Osmond Jewelers. Not so easy to find on McFarland, between Edgar's and local routes.
Dixie Battery Supply takes care of all of your battery needs. Find the commercial batteries you're after and never feel powerless again. Come check out our Northport and Tuscaloosa locations or call us at 205-758-9190. And once again, power up all your devices by using Dixie Battery Supply, DixieBatterySupply.com.
Solutions, project and warehouse management, arc flash studies, and more. Visit CED in Tuscaloosa, Coleman, and Decatur, and All Phase Electric Supply in Albertville and Huntsville.
Visit the pharmacy at Midtown. That's the pharmacy at midtown.com. TJ and his team are looking for the opportunity to provide you with great services, including compounding, home delivery, and a whole lot more. If you're looking for a great pharmacy that'll take care of all of your needs, including wellness classes, including health, and more, that's the pharmacy at Midtown. Call them at 205-579-9933. If you're looking for a great pharmacy, you need to try the pharmacy at Midtown. That's the pharmacy at Midtown, pharmacy at midtown.com.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier on this free-for-all Friday. Been talking a lot about conference championships, where Alabama fits in this 12-team playoff. But we've got Robert joining us on the Empowerment Strategy Solution Hotline. How you doing this morning, Robert?
Hey, guys.
How you doing?
Well, I'm already hearing SMU's coach. You heard him, didn't you, what he said that, well, my team caught COVID and didn't play today, then we'd be in the playoffs. Or didn't play this weekend. We automatically be in the playoffs. And that's what the committee did was screw up. You should have done SMU the same way you've done, what is it, Arizona State and the other team? You're on the outs, and it's your play-in game. And that's kind of what they should have done with SMU. All right, you're out in Clemson. You're buddedly, you're out, and you play your way. This is your play-in game. Then no controversy at all. And I don't understand why they ranked. They should never rank SMU higher than Alabama, given the schedule. And it should. And that's where they messed up. Because no matter how it looks, if SMU gets kicked out, then this looks like a punishment for them losing. They're playing an extra game. When it should have been for them and Clemson the play-in game. You win, you're in game because all conferences aren't the same.
Yeah, and here's the thing. To me, you should. The other place that they messed up is guaranteeing that the conference champion. They've done things that contradict. If conferences aren't built to equal, then everybody shouldn't get an automatic bye, right? Because you win a conference championship. Conference champions should be in the field, but they should be ranked. That makes sense? In other words, where they mess up is the college basketball ranking. Top 25, how much does it have to do with the seeding? There are number one seeds. There are teams in college basketball, March Madness. It's not the 1, 2, 3, 4 team in the poll that gets the number one seed. They don't go, oh, okay, the number one seed is the number one team, the number two seed, the second number one seed is the number two team in the poll. They look at the whole year. With college football, they're gonna have to learn and grow up, Robert. You can't put out a poll every week and then make that poll the poll that you choose. You see what I'm saying? Like to me, they shouldn't even. What would be the case if they had not put out a poll that was from them officially? If they let the AP poll and all of that stuff do the rankings like everybody else does, then they came up this weekend, it'd be a lot less argument if this was the first time we heard from the selection committee.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
The selection committee should not be putting out a poll every week because it pigeonholes them. Here's the last thing, and I'll say to this and toss it back to Xavier and you, but Robert, I've said this, and I've not heard one national guy bring this up. What happens? Everybody's saying, well, there's no way they can drop SMU out because they play in the conference championship. So what happens if UNLV wins, Clemson win, and we know Arizona is in or Iowa State is in? We know that. So that's 3 conference champions that could secure an automatic 12 spots. Mm-hmm. So what happens to Indiana and Alabama and Miami? You see what I'm saying? If you're gonna say that, if you're gonna say you can't bump SMU, then you can't bump Boise.
Right.
And people are starting to pick UNLV over Boise because they said that they held Gentry to 3.9 yards, his lowest run total of the year, and they lost late in that game. I didn't see it, but you see what I'm saying? So that's why the commission, the committee has the leeway that they could say, hey, listen, the way the polls ranked out, normally we would wouldn't drop a conference champion. But with the way it's right now is you have conference champion. The only conference champion that doesn't have a team playing outside of is the Big Ten and the SEC. Everybody else is coming from the outside in. So they possibly could lose 3 spots.
Right, and one of the biggest reasons why we have, of course, the committees releasing polls because it's ESPN and one in the ratings. And the idea was that we need to know the mindset of the committee leading up to the final poll. That's what the argument back then, which is why they, the real reason, of course, was TV ratings. But oh well, whatever. We're here now. But they need to, like you said, if you get into that game, then there'll be a lot of teams that have lost 1 or 2 and conference losers and won't get in. So, you'll be rewarding a bad schedule and you'll be encouraging more bad schedules. That's just the bottom line. You want to see good games, then you cannot. Then if you reward bad team with pathetic schedule, then you're just going to get more of them. Eventually they're not going to want to play this conference championship. It's another problem too. We may have to figure out some way to. I guess they have to start naming conference champions or whatever, because that's probably they don't want to lose, or pay the players to play them, or just don't factor them in at all. Hey, the conference championship for your conference, you pay the guys to play them, but they factor in nothing. The regular season is the only thing that factors in the playoffs. That's the bottom line. Because it's because otherwise, Lane Kiffin was spouted earlier saying nobody wants to play in the SEC championship game. He was floating that out there, and no one's really going to want to play in the ACC championship game after this. But but the ACC is terrible.
See, everybody says that nobody's going to want to play in it. Well, Clemson wants to play in it. UNLV wants to play in it.
Because it means something right now. I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is half of the squad says they don't want to play in the conference championship. The other half do want to play it. Because
you got to think about it. Yes, Alabama, SEC has been the dominant conference for a generation and a half. But what happens if Bama, the SEC slips off a little bit, and it's not, and we're in that ACC position, or if we're in that Big 12 position where both teams are sitting on the outside, needing to win this game to get that automatic bid, like that's a future that could happen. And so when you're looking at that, it's easy for us as SEC fans to go, hey, yeah, we probably don't want to play in the game because we got 2-3 teams that have a legitimate shot to get in. But there might come a day to where we're a 1-bid league or fighting for it. You see what I'm saying? So it's easy for us from a different position right now.
You mean in 1,000 years when we're all dead, the SEC falls like that? Yeah, I see your point. I see your point there.
Yeah.
And the other thing, Robert, I would add to that conversation is you think through this. What being the losses? See, we have got to learn losses are not necessarily doesn't mean the goal of the committee is supposed to get the best 12 teams.
Right.
And if
politics play into that, but yeah.
If you're saying that there's more teams, tell me 12 teams, put Arizona in, put Clemson in, and put UNLV in. Put them in because they won their conference championship. Are you saying to me that all the other teams that they would be favored to beat Alabama? Because that's what best 12 means. The best
and their
12,
argument is always, well, you can't go by that. That's be their argument. You can't go by that. We know reality, but that's what
my point is why can't you go by it? Because it's arbitrary. They don't all play each other. So you have to have the human element in there, Robert. So my point being this: when you say Alabama doesn't deserve, now to me,
that drives me crazy.
Deserves to be in. South Carolina deserves to be in. Ole Miss deserves to be in. Over Indiana, over Boise, over SMU. Okay, they deserve to be in there because those teams, if they were playing in this conference, they would have that. I mean, it's not trying to be funny. This Vanderbilt team this year would be 8-3 or 9-3 in the ACC. SMU's best win is Duke. And their second best win is Louisville. And neither one of those teams would beat Vanderbilt.
Exactly. Because in Oklahoma, if they were in the ACC, they would be the conference champion, right? And they'd rule it.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem with the way these all conferences are. It's like the NFL. The gap between the best team and the worst team is far, and it's very narrow. In college, the gap between the best team and the worst team, or the best conference and the worst conference, is humongous. And you just can't treat them all the same, which is what people want to do. And because they don't want, because they know their seat is the best, but they want seats at the table, which that's fine. I understand. That's why I wouldn't choose to lose my mind over conference champions making it. But but your second team below your conference champion, come on now. The SMU one regular season on SMU and a 3-loss Alabama in the SEC. You really want to make that comparison? They don't even try to make a comparison. They just go off of the fair and the blah blah and the stuff that can't be measured on the field. And that's okay, whatever.
Who has the best win in one of the best wins in the country?
Of course, Alabama.
Yeah, I mean, if Alabama plays at their top, that's what. And you don't. People go, well, they lost. Committees don't select based on the lowest, the floor when they're putting teams in. That's why everybody always brings up Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, Robert. If you're selecting the committee and you're going to measuring the teams, you go, okay, SMU and Alabama are close. Which one of them had the worst game of the year? You don't make it off of that criteria. You go, if these two teams, they're close, they're similar, they're whatever, which one of them has the highest potential and the best roster, the best wins, the best? We're having to learn this in the college football game. And like I said, to me, if the committee didn't have any rankings and we had no idea who they were, and it came out this way on Sunday, you couldn't argue with it. But you can argue with it because you don't know where they had them going into this weekend.
One more thing before I go. The only team in the top 15 that SMU would be favored over at all is Clemson. That's it. They're like, so you can't say that, by Vegas. Oh, yeah, like you said, Martin, that does factor in especially when you talk about the money. They're the only ones SMU wouldn't even be favored over BYU or Boise. Just Clemson.
And they're
so factor that in. All right, guys.
All right, thanks. X, take it away, man.
Hey, we're going to go ahead and get the break. When we come back on the other side, we're going to wrap up this edition of the Martin Houston Show. It's the Free for All Friday, and it's been a very free for all Friday for sure. And we'll hit predictions on the other side of conference championship Saturday. We'll be back.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Coming up on the Friday edition of The Game, we're going to do Parlay Picks presented by Brian Harden Construction. We'll combine all the championship games. We'll take your phone calls. We'll talk to Lee Sterling. We'll talk to Brent Beard. And we're going to take your phone calls starting at 2 p.m. here on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa. The Game with Ryan Fowler. Weekdays from 2 to 6 p.m. on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Tide 100.9 Traffic.
Tuscaloosa traffic now from the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center. Good morning. Let's take a look at traffic. Well, we don't have any accidents or incidents, but we do have a lot of long-term road construction that could slow you down. Old Birmingham Highway eastbound between King Keens Mill Road and Kennedy Mill Road. Also, they're doing some bridge.
And our cigar selection is legendary. Our lounge and service are world-class. Come and experience the luxury of the mansion and see why it's a world-renowned cigar and spirits destination.
Houston Hydrosteam. That's Houston Hydrosteam. Quality work you can stand on. Whether you're looking for carpet and upholstery cleaning, oriental rug cleaning, residential or commercial water damage, and a whole lot more, you need to call Houston Hydrosteam at 205-553-9460. 553.
Down the Tinsel Trail. For more information, visit ttowntinsel.com. I can't wait. Santa, can you?
Ho, ho, ho. It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier. We're in the fourth quarter of this Friday edition, Free for All Friday, powered by the pharmacy at Midtown. Chuck, we're going to go ahead and get to you. It's got to be rapid fire. How you doing this morning, Chuck?
Oh, yeah, I know this is rapid fire. I'm going to be quick going to the weekend. How are you all doing this morning? I was thinking about you all. I was thinking about you all talking about fair weather fans. I'm going to touch on this last night when LSU won that overtime game, the comeback they made. Kim O'Keefe touched upon that when the fans were leaving in regulation, and there were those that did stay. The others had already left the arena, but she touched on it in the press. They were bring the question to Michaela Williams, but she said, "No, let me be the bad guy on this one." She said, "I looked back and she said some of her church members. She said, I won't be here. I won't be here this Sunday because they won't be on the road. She said, but I'll see them next Sunday in church." Brother Houston, I thought about you when I heard that. I know you're being a minister. She said, I look at them when they did that. She said, I know who you are, but that was just bringing back to you all talking about Alabama. Some of people in your fan base being fair weather and how they just talking about how they treated Jalen Miro, and it shows you each program is going to have its fair weather fans, and I'm going to land on that one.
All right. Yeah, I agree with you, Chuck. Thank you for calling in. Fair weather fans can really ruin the sport sometimes, but we've got J-Rob on the line. How you doing this morning, J-Rob?
Hey, guys, I'll be quick. I know you're short of time. I think if the committee does what they set forth as criteria and what they've done so far, that Alabama will be in whether SMU wins or not. But I still don't trust them. I don't trust the committee. I think I think they could be physical. I think they could change their mind, get under pressure from the media and all the outpouring and crying for SMU to get in. But if they do what they've been doing, Alabama will get in. We'll be okay. I hope y'all have a great weekend. And as always, roll tide.
Roll tide.
Roll tide, J-Rob. I think just to wrap that up, if SMU handles the business, we have nothing to worry about. So let's look at it from that standpoint. And that gets into our prediction about, does Bama get in? I think Alabama does, especially if SMU handles business. There could be a couple other things that go crazy, BYU, Boise State, UNLV, things like that could also still help Bama get in.
Yeah, I think if Boise loses to UNLV, I think Boise falls out. I don't think there's any way they put two group of fives in over the other conferences, because at that point you've literally blown up college football. I think that would be worse than the conference champion. I got Georgia over Texas. I think Boise holds on. I think Gentry had the Heisman moment, but loses it to Hunter. I'm going with SMU over Clemson. Wouldn't be surprised if Clemson pulls it. I think Arizona State wins it, and I got Oregon over Penn State. And Bama.
I agree with that. I agree with those. Crazy thing is, this is the fourth time there's been a top three matchup in the conference championship game. It's fourth time. The previous three, Alabama has been in all three. Alabama versus Florida 08-09, Bama versus Georgia a couple years ago. That lets you know how special the SEC has been.
All right. Hey, this is Martin Houston. That's Xavier Houston. That's Chase Brumfield. Thanks to all the callers, listeners, viewers, and chatters for being a part of the program. We do it every day, Monday through Friday, from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. Replay at 6 p.m. if you missed it live on the Martin Houston social media network. All right. Hey, listen, we'll be back to talk about it. Bama's in. Calling it right now. We'll talk about it on Monday. Roll Tide, everybody. Go find yourself in church somewhere. Talk about Harvest Church if you get a chance in Coker, Alabama.